What we're going to show you today is our pennant series for hockey. We have 3 different sizes, which means 3 different styles that we do. This is style 1. This is our vertical style. And this is style 2, our horizontal one, our pennant going this way. And style 3 is more of a banner style. That's a pennant banner style, and that's our 3rd style. So those are the 3 different pennants that we can that we have on our files. We also have these. Those were a player ones, so you could see that there's a hockey player on top of that one, right? We also have over here, we have goalie style, and again we have this in all 3 different shapes. So that's the goalie one. And we also have in all 3 different shapes, we have the coach version. So there's the coach version. So we have that again in all 3 different sizes. And what we've done on the back of these to customize them a little bit is we've actually put in, this is actually for my son's team, the year, all the names and numbers of the kids, and their logo of their team. So we've done that on the back of all of these. So depending on which one you have, so this one will be a little bit different. This is probably showing backwards on the video, but we'll see. So that one's done that way, and then the 3rd style is done that way. So yeah, you can personalize the back of them. So that's how that worked. Also, just so you're aware, I created these ones. These are 9 inches across the top by about 18 inches tall. So depending on what size laser bed you have, you can create it whatever size you want. You can make them smaller. You can make them as big as your bed on your laser allows. So like I said, this is a pretty good size for doing for a team kind of giveaway. These ones here, the style 3, are 8 inches by I think about 12 inches. We also tried doing it in a slightly bigger, but we like this size better. I think we went 10 inches wide by about 14 tall, and felt it was just a little bit too big. So the other thing to note is you'll see on this one that we have these 2 circles at the top. This is on the back layer of the, so that this style can be hung, right? And our file will include those on there, or have also styles if you don't want those circles there to hang up. Again, on this style too, because it is the vertical style, a little bit of hair there, we do again have those 2 circles if you can see there. Again, that's just on the back layer, so there's 2 layers of this. So this one here, we did not put circles, but I'll include the file to have some circles. It's just trying to hang it and figure out, I don't know how, some people will probably just put it on top of their desk or whatever, or they could put little hooks on the back. So this one's a little bit harder to hang, but the other 2 are very easy to hang with a circle. All right, now we're going to talk about the names here. So you'll see here that we've added the names and numbers for each player. There's basically 3 different ways that we can do this. In this style here, we actually glue on each individual letter, and you can see with a long name like that, it does become a little bit difficult. But if you're not super comfortable with editing in Lightburn or on your Glowforge or whatever program you're using, this would be an easier way to do it. But gluing on these pieces is a little bit of a pain in the butt. So what we did to make it a little easier to glue this on is that we added basically 3M tape just to this section. And there's going to be a video in a little bit here that I will show you where I added these and how I did those letters and got the tape just on the back of the letters. We use CA glue to glue most of this together. So we use CA glue. However, in this section here, because it's so difficult, we actually have 3M tape on the back of those letters that sticks to that, and it actually sticks pretty well. The 3M tape is fairly expensive, so you could do the entire thing with 3M tape. However, because of the expense of the 3M tape, we just put 3M tape in this section here because that's the most difficult to glue. So we're going to show you the video of what we did out in the laser on how to glue those up. So we'll show that video now. Okay, I'm just going to show you some different ways that you can do the lettering and the name and the number on the puck. You could weld. You could also, if you used plywood, you could probably engrave on there, which is an option. But in this option, what we do is we're going to basically cut out everything on the pennant, but leave the name and the number out, but just cut that piece out. So now I can take these pieces out. If I try to do this one-handed here. Almost had it. So what we did is we took those two pieces out, and now we take them and we put the 3M tape on the back of them. So we'll do that right now. So you can see here, we've now just put the 3M tape on those spots right there because the small lettering is going to be hard to glue those pieces in. We usually use CA glue. You could put 3M over the whole backing, but that's going to cost a lot of money because this 3M tape is not cheap. So we just cut that out, put the tape on the back, and then put this back in here. So we just stick those two pieces back in. And now we'll cut out the number and the name out of there. And then that way, once it's cut out, they'll have the 3M tape. We'll paint it, and then we'll stick it onto the backing. So that's how we do that type of lettering. Again, like I said, you can engrave on there if you're using plywood. You can also weld if you know how to weld it in there, and we do that for a lot of them. But this is another way. If you just want to do something easy, you can use a 3M tape to stick on those letters and numbers. Okay, so now you can see after we've put the pieces back in with the 3M tape, we've now cut them. So now we can actually take that out, and we can use this piece here as basically a template later when we put that in. So we want to center that number back there. We can use that piece as a template, and then you can see that the back of those ones have the 3M tape on it. So after we paint it, we just peel the tape off and stick the number in using this as a template. So, and the same with goes with the letters. So that's how we did that. It worked out pretty good, I think. So. All right, so this next way we can do it, and this is a little bit different style we didn't show you earlier. We didn't paint this one white. We just used the birch plywood, and we just put a little bit of poly coat on it. So the top layer is just birch. Second layer is also birch, but then we painted it blue. But here you can see that a very easy way to do it is to engrave the name and number on there, right? So that's another option for personalizing it, and especially if you're not comfortable. The third way we're going to show you is welding. But so if you're not comfortable with, again, doing stuff in light burn like welding, then this is an easy way to customize it. So there's that way. And then the third way is welding it here just like that. So you can see that the letters are all touching the edge. So that was actually really easy to cut, and it became all one piece, and it was really easy to glue on with the CA glue instead of using the 3M tape on the back. So yeah, all those pieces stay together. That's an example. I have a couple other here, like Coach Don here, right? I also welded. In this situation though, I also had to weld because Coach was kind of floating, I had to weld the letters together as well. So on the video, we'll show you how to weld the letters if that's the way you want to do it. But if not, you can do it one of the other two ways that we showed you as well. So here's the video on how to weld the letters in Lightroom. All right, so here we have the player banner 1, the hockey player banner 1 style, and we want to add a name and number in here. Now, like I said, we can cut those out or we can engrave it. But what we're going to do in this one is we're actually going to weld it in there. So to do that, we start off by going over here to the text tool. Click on that, and we're going to type in the name. There we are. And then I'm just going to grab this tool, go back to the selection tool over here, right? That one. And then we are going to move this over to where it needs to be. Obviously, it is too wide, so we are going to shrink it up. There's different ways we could do this, but this is probably the easiest way. I'm going to zoom in here. Now you can see that we are not in the shape of the puck, so we want to change the shape here, and by that this little dot right here, the little dot, see that? Click on that, and then we can just kind of turn it to make it look about the same shape. Let's go move this down a little bit. We're pretty close here. We're going to shrink this up a little bit, make sure this G is not totally lost. Bring the K in a little bit as well. Okay, let's just take a look. Maybe something like that. Just scroll this up a tiny bit. We just need to be just below. Now we're going to lose a little bit of the G on the bottom there, but maybe we can, let's see what we can do here. Oh, and on the top here, you can see that there's a little bit of a gap here. Can't have that, otherwise it will not weld properly. So we need to scroll this up a little bit. All right, not perfect, but something like that. So now what you need to do is you need to unselect everything and select the outside, that one right there, and then hold down Shift and then select the word, and then we go over here and we select the subtract, Boolean subtract tool. So I click on that, and boom, it's taken out. It's welded it all nicely together. Okay, so now if we want to go and add his number, we're going to hit the font again, and we will, let's try here, number 12, but I think we're going to go with a different font. We have this one, this collegiate black we like, and that kind of gives it a neat number. It's a similar font to what is in where it says hockey there. It's the same font actually, not similar. So now we again go select this tool here, and we need to center this a little and make it bigger so it's touching the edges. So let's recenter this, see if it's touching. Let's zoom in a little here. All right, it's touching at 3 of the corners, so we're just going to make this a little bit bigger. Something like that. And again, you can choose a different font or whatever, or if you want it to look a certain way. But yeah, I think that's going to look pretty good. So again, I deselect everything. So I select somewhere over here. I select this outer rim. I hold down Shift. I select the number. And again, I hit the weld tool that is the Boolean subtract. So click on that, and there it is. It is welded that nicely together. Let's take a look. So that's looking pretty good. I can show you if I do a preview here. If I select this all and hit preview, what it's going to kind of look like. There it is there. That's where all the cut lines will be. I can even show you a little bit better if I change this to instead of a line, we're going to change it to a fill. Just now, obviously we're not filling, we're going to use line to cut it, but I'll temporarily change it to fill, and this will give you even a better look on the preview. I quite often do this just to see what it's going to look like. But so that has looks pretty good. So you got the hockey player, hockey, the gloves, and and the skates, and now you got the welded custom name for each player on the hockey puck. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, now I'm going to talk about some of the materials that we use to put these together for making these. So this style here, or all the ones that we painted white and then a color, like we use many different colors as you can see in the background. But for this one, the top layer we made out of MDF. Now you could make it out of plywood as well, but we made it out of MDF because it's a little bit cheaper. And we then primed it. We used this primer here, this fill primer from Rust-Oleum. It's a little more expensive than most primers, but it's a very good primer. It's really good for sanding. It's about $20 Canadian at Home Depot. I'm guessing in the States it'd be cheaper, but with the dollar exchange, it's probably about the same. We've found it online for as cheap as $13 or $14. We'll put a link to that cheaper one in the video at the bottom at the links. So yeah, so the Rust-Oleum, we prime it first, and then once we're done priming it, we use this Prime Dang from Bombing Science, I believe it's called. So that's our white Dang that we use, and this color is just white. And we sprayed there, and usually we did one layer and then came back later and did a second coat of any spots that we might have missed, and especially into the little nooks and crannies, right? So that's what we used for the top layer. The layer behind, because we wanted to engrave the back of it, we used as a birch, right? Because we put the engraving on the back, so we didn't want this to be MDF. So we used a birch as the bottom layer so that we can engrave the back. And again, before painting this with the Dang paint, we primed it first. So again, the Dang paint here, we used this. Here's the red example of the red one. These run about $5, probably about $6 Canadian, depending on how many you buy at a time. And I think if you spend a certain amount, over 125, I think it is, you get free shipping. These are actually pretty good price. This is, I think it's 300 grams or 400 milliliters of paint. You can also get like Rust-Oleum, spray paint white or whatever colors that they have. They don't usually have as much option. And this one's a slightly bigger can, but I think it's about $12 Canadian. So this is 340 grams. The other thing we really like about the Dang paint is it's actually a graffiti paint. So it really works well. It has a nice coverage. It's really good. I find it much better than the Rust-Oleum stuff, and it's slightly cheaper. So we will also put a link to this for Bombing Science, that's it. We will put a link at the bottom so that you can purchase this as well. Also, we talked about this one before where we used this one. So this one we did not use any MDF. We used 2 layers of 1/4 inch. So the top layer again is just wood. So all we did is put polyurethane on top of it afterwards. And then the bottom layer, again, because we wanted to engrave the back, we also made it birch. So this one, both layers are birched. Again, we primed this part where the blue is first, and then put the blue Dang paint on it. So yeah, so if you have any questions, you can put a comment in the video or send us a message, and we can help answer some of the materials. But yes, and then the only other material that I could think of that we used was the 3M tape, which we talked about earlier. Again, that we'll put a link at the bottom for that. And again, that's very expensive, but it works really well, especially for small letters like that, if you're not going to weld them. So, but again, like I said, we try not to use too much of that because of its cost.